Good morning, zookeepers, and welcome back to Mesa Zoo. Today we're going to be making a small enclosure. The past few ones have been pretty large, so I thought I'd fill out this little gap I've got here with a sort of smaller enclosure, and it gives me an excuse to use the badger, which I really wanted to see in the game. And also when I was looking in the shop, I got like a really nice sort of yellowish kind of tan colour, so I was kind of excited to see what that looks like, because I've never seen one in that colour before. So it'd be kind of interesting, and I was like, you know what, I'll make a small kind of cute enclosure. I kind of realised there was some guests protesting. I was like, why are they protesting? Like, what's going on here? Well, it turned out one of the tapirs fell into this waterfall area, which is meant to be off limits to them, but somehow it got in there and got stuck, and the guests weren't happy with its welfare, and yeah, they were telling me off. So I quickly sorted that out when I figured out what the issue was, and then just went back to building this. Now, my idea behind it, I wanted to do completely custom fencing and have my own style to it, and I just used a lot of different bits and bobs to get at it, and tried making it so it looked like it's got supports and everything like that, and trying getting things to somewhat fit in and look kind of like bashed together, as it were. Like, this enclosure wasn't here, the keepers had like leftover bits and pieces and lots of wood, and just went to town to it and made like a small sort of exhibit for them. And yeah, I feel like I kind of nailed the look with it, really. Like, I really enjoyed it, like just making this bit. And also, instead of making the fence go like different heights because of the ground is not completely flat, I just sort of well, how would I do this? I just raise the sleepers, which is what the wood's attached to or sandwiched between, and it just kind of gives it that interesting look when it's complete, that it's not completely level at base, but it's level at top, which is kind of interesting. And I kind of like that look, to be honest. At first I was a bit skeptical at first, but then when I actually finished it and got all the plants and things like that into this enclosure, I was like, actually no, I quite enjoy this look. It looks very homemade in a sense. I tried making a space for the gate, but no matter which way I did the gate, it just wasn't leveling up. So in the end, I just sort of custom built and messed around the fencing area, and just sort of well, if that's how the gate wants to be, that's how the gate can be, because I don't have any choice in that matter. So I just had it kind of fit in, and in the end, I actually kind of like that look. I was like, oh, it actually looks pretty nice like this. So I go around adding different bits of enrichment, a little housing area for them, the underground burrow even. And then just added loads of bits, and the way I wanted it, I keep seeing people build these burrows into items themselves, and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of a neat idea. So I kind of wanted to build this rock cave around it, and the look of it kind of reminded me of Zoo Tycoon 2. Some of the caves were kind of sort of this kind of look, kind of squarish and bulkish with just rocks everywhere around it, but it still maintained that kind of square kind of look almost. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go for that. And with them being badgers, English countryside came into mind, so I was just adding tons of different flower plants. I made this little bush wall in between the gate and the gate, in between the fence and the badgers themselves. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Somewhat does a slight natural kind of standoff barrier for the badgers. So I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So I left it like that. I did put a cream pine outside, mainly because when I come across it, I didn't think they were in the game. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And a little bit of funny story behind it, my grandma bought two Korean pines, but they were meant to be dwarfs. Now the one in the front garden stayed pretty small, and then in the one in the back garden got about 8 meters. So we were like, oh, okay, that's different, but it still was a really nice looking tree. So I was like, oh wow, that's there. I placed that there. I was like, oh, that looked nice on the outside of the enclosure, and maybe I can do something with it later. But it's pretty much just there as a reminder, because I haven't gone around decorating the outside of the enclosures yet. I'm going to just do all the enclosures and then theme and decorate the outsides. But honestly, this badge is my favourite. It looks so cute, and I feel like this enclosure looks really nice. It kind of looks overgrown, kind of looks like a countryside field with the hedgerows on the sides and things like this. So I feel like in my head I nailed the look. I really enjoyed this enclosure. Like, it was a nice, simple, cute build. I went slightly overboard with like the plants, and I feel like I got the right amount, and then I left the middle kind of like flattened down, as it were, so you have actual space to be able to see them. And one of the cute things is the badgers kept climbing like some of the smaller rocks, so it's kind of interesting just to see them at the top there, like looking around and having a nosy. And they're out constantly. Sometimes I notice when you put a burrow in an enclosure that they just stay in there for absolutely ages. But these two were out for a long time, so I managed to get like some really good like shots of them and screenshots, which I was happy about, and sort of messed around in that sense. But yeah, absolutely love this enclosure, and I hope you guys too as well. I'll be putting on the workshop, so you'll be able to grab that if you want to add it to your zoos. If you do any tweaking or changes, let me know. I'd love to see what people do with this, how they incorporate it into their zoos, and if they make any changes and things like this. I'm always interested in seeing that kind of things. You can either join my Discord and put a picture of it in there, or you can like send it to me on Instagram and tag me in it, or any other way you can think of, even like Facebook and things like this, because I've got an account on Facebook for this page. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this and it's given you a little bit of inspiration with your builds. And as always, thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.